Greetings from the thriving metropolis of Omaha, Nebraska, USA. Famous for... Right. Well, we going live here in just a sec. Gonna go over the last 7, the total of the 7 times up and down the mountain. We already covered the first 3. Got some royalty-free music playing for your listening pleasure while we get all ready here. We're just getting settled in. Should just be a few minutes before we start. Quite frankly, anybody's welcome to join. Any topic. Oh my goodness, let me get started here. This is so hard. Oh my gosh, why is this so hard? All right, we'll be getting started here in just a minute. Let me get my cam. All right, the music is not doing good. Let's see if we can fix that too. Oh, goodness gracious, Syrup. Oh my gosh, we've got a comment already. Where's my glasses? I haven't even got all my stuff ready, and you choose. Live view of comments show up on StreamYard. This is an example. Tap on a comment to show it on screen. Syrup, you choose. All right, let me see here. We're gonna do Mr. Rogers. We're gonna do Mr. Rogers tonight. Where are we at? Where's the camera? We're gonna do Mr. Rogers tonight. So, take off our shoe and tie and everything, and get settled in and do some go over the seven go over the 7 times Moses was up and down the mountain. All right. So Mr. Rogers would always come in the front door. So we're coming in the front door. Taking off our tie. When I show my shoes, taking off our shoes, I'm just going to show one shoe. I'm going to show one shoe. And then taking off our tie, loosening up our shirt. We're going to get this music up first. Royalty-free music. Royalty-free music. So there's no copyright infringement. Okay. What else we got? We take off our tie. Oh, we'll have to do this off camera. We don't even know. All right. When we get got our glasses ready and everything. Where's Earache My Eye? Yeah, he would love these. Yeah. We even got our little pen ready. All right. Let's see if we can get this ball rolling. Getting close, getting close. Is that dirty? What the hell? I love that, brother. Dude, this royalty-free music's got to go. I don't even know. All right, anyway. Yeah, dirty, man. Let's see. I think of you. When did I think of you? I don't know. Always think of you. You're like a thinker. Not afraid to shake things up. Not afraid to say a little controversy. Settings, camera, facing back, mirror my camera. Camera. Oh yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. We'll kind of do it like that. Oh wow, where the hell is that thing pointing? Who knows? My goodness. Oh, I should have pointed it the other way, and then I could see. Yeah. So Moses up and down this. Oh, I gotta say hi to these guys on chat. What the hell? Oh, thank God they didn't say anything. Man, I'm on like a $50 phone, bro. You guys are like chatting in me, and I can't do that stuff. Moses up and down that mountain 7 times. We just went over. I did a short, I cut out a little short or whatever. The first 3 times he's what? The first 3 times are before Mount Sinai. The shouting down. They're at Mount Sinai. Of course, he's going up and down the mountain. So he's up and down the mountain 7 times, 8 counting the non-burning bush. But honestly, there's a 9th because we don't see where Father says depart, and they go to Kadesh Barnea, but then they come right back down south and go all the way around. After that, he goes back up the mountain. I don't know if you've read Deuteronomy, and every other word is like, oh, and then he fell down as at the first. It's how many times was he fallen down in 40 days? I think 3. But so anyway, the first time he goes up there, it's after they had come out. They'd already gotten the Sabbath on the manna. This is before Mount Sinai shouting down to the 10. They cried for manna, they got it, and then they were told about the Sabbath with the manna. Okay. At the bitter waters of Marah, they were told it was to prove them. No, that was the 10 Commandments. It was to test them, to see if they would keep my commands or no. That's how it's worded in the KJV, to keep my commands or no. N-O. I had a girlfriend that used to say that. Hey, did you want to go to Burger King tonight or no? Is Arby's up? Can we go to Arby's? Where he makes a deal with us. So anyway, the first time is Exodus 19:3. He goes up the mountain, and God says to him, because God didn't call him up there. God at the burning bush years earlier, or however long earlier, at the burning bush, he told him, get people out and serve me on this mountain. So 19:3, he goes up the mountain, and God speaks to him and says, if you obey my command, if you obey my voice, see how this works for the upcoming Mount Sinai and Jesus, because Jesus is speaking only the words of the Father. If you obey my voice and keep my covenant, there's not even a covenant yet. There's an Abrahamic covenant. These people haven't even learned about Genesis yet. Genesis is not even written down yet. And he says, if you keep my covenant. So we know that's up and coming. I will make you a sticky, peculiar people. I will make you a peculiar people above the rest of the world. A holy nation, a kingdom of priests. So that's kind of like this is what that Bishop Barron was saying. That this is more of a pledge. No sacrifices were done at this time. They had just drinking bitter water, and it was fixed by Moses's direction by God to put a tree into it and fix it. And no, it's not hot. Yeah, I just lost 30,000 subscribers right there. It was whatever it was a tree. The tree in Revelation is that you eat the tree from the tree. It's for the healing of the nations. So how about that? Yeah, Jehovah Jireh, I think it's called, or something. Inri, no, that's Jesus on the cross. The first time he's up, if you obey, keep peculiar priests, holy nation, come down, and he tells the people those words, and the people say, and this is just another pledge. This is not a blood covenant. This is just another pledge. All that the Lord has said will we do. That kind of sounds like Scooby-Doo. So he comes down, he goes up the first time, gets it, comes down, tells the people that. He goes up the second time in Exodus 19:8, and God tells him to sanctify the people. He gives them 4 commands. He only comes down and tells them 3. He does not say to set bounds. He instead says, come not against your wives. So now we can see why they didn't even last 40 days. That command standed when he went back up there a couple times. And all these people are still not supposed to, what I'm just saying, you're married, there's a lot of people that are married. This isn't like going to the club. So he goes up the second time. God tells him the 4 things. He only comes down and says 3. Exodus 19:14 is when he's down the second time, and he tells the people the 3 instead of the 4. If you think I'm lying, let's just read the next couple verses. Exodus 19:20, 6 verses later, Exodus 19:20 is when he goes up the 3rd time. Okay. He goes up the 3rd time. God calls him, and he goes up a 3rd time. And God says, go get thee down. Charge the people and put boundaries around the mountain. Moses says, I already charged the people. And God says, no, get thee down. And I think he also says, bring up Aaron with you or something later. But that's 1914 when he goes down the second time. 1920 is when he goes up and God says, get down, set bounds. And then when he comes down the mountain in Exodus 19:25, where he actually is, it only says, and he spoke to the people. And then Exodus 20 starts, and we've got Exodus 20 is the 10 commandments. This is when God's shouting them down. So we don't know if he ever said set bounds or what, but either way, it sounds like God is interrupting him. This is the 46th day the 46th day is the first time he's up there. And he says, sanctify the people. Against the 3rd day, this 49th day, goes back up there, says, hey, go get down and set boundaries. This is the 50th day. He starts to shout. The first Pentecost is when we move into Exodus 20. This is when he starts to shout down the 10 commandments. And no, the very first one is not, you shall love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And no, the second one is not love your neighbor as yourself. He shouts down the 10 commandments. You saw how I brought you out of Egypt. You saw what I did with the mighty hand. With the mighty hand, yeah, he crushed, but with an outstretched arm, like where's it at? Like, come on, with a mighty hand, he crushed, but he's also like, come on, this is, come on, I'm getting you out of the oven. I'm getting you out of the oven. Come with me. How am I doing that? I don't know what angle to hit that thing. All right, lost my place. Exodus 20 is on down. So the last 4 times, I got to get this done real quick. Exodus 20, he yells down the 10, and it's too loud for the people. The people freak out. Oh my God, Moses, he's killing us with his loud voice. You go up there and tell us what he said, and then whatever he says, we'll do it. And Moses says, he's just doing this to prove you. He's just doing it to prove you'll be fine. You're going to live forever. All you have to do is believe. You heard those 10, and you cower like a little wimp. You're good. Go sin, go make a calf, go back to Egypt. Nobody cares. You believed. And you don't even know you're in the Old Testament, so it don't count. Experiential fellowship, what the? All right, so chapter 10, chapter 20, Exodus 20, he yells the 10. It's too loud for the people. Moses says it's to prove you, but they're like, no, you go up there and all you say. So Moses goes up there. This is the fourth ascent of Mount Sinai. Exodus 20, verse 21. He goes up the mountain and he says, tell Israel, don't make a god of me of silver, and don't make a god to you of gold. Yeah, we know what shape those gold gods are of ours. What's her name? Hid them under her dress. There ain't too many places to hide under your dress, to hide your idols under your dress. I don't know what it would be for a guy, probably like an old etched out, I don't know what it would be. Exodus 20:21 is the fourth time he goes up and he tells them, don't make any gods of silver of me, any gods of gold to you. If you make an altar, relax. This is not the temple. He says, if you make an altar, okay, Cain and Abel had an altar, Noah, Abe, even Moses, okay, so right away we're kind of freaking out on temple and tabernacle and everything because he said altar. And then he's also going to say, don't make steps to it so they discover your nakedness, and don't make it of hewn stone. You can make it of like regular stone. You can form a brick and put mortar around and put another brick, another brick, another brick, another brick, another brick. But you can't chisel anything out. You can't put a tool on it. It should be made of dirt. This is simply an oven. This is a whatever you call it, a stove. It's an altar. Your electricity goes out and your food runs out after 3 weeks in a winter storm. You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You're not going to be able to kill a cow every day just so you can have your cheeseburger. You're going to kill a cow. It's going to feed a zillion people, and you're not going to be able to keep it too long with no refrigeration. So these are places of settlement of we're going to eat something good. We've been working for 6 days, eating sandwiches out of the truck, out of the back seat of the truck. And now we're actually going to sit down, take a bath, cook a little lamb. And there's, 20 other people that have eaten fruits and vegetables and nuts and berries for the last, week. And so, okay, so anyway, to be more specific, he does say these are for your burnt and peace offerings, nothing to do with sacrificial offerings. Peace and burnt offerings. You do a peace offering. This is Cain and Abel. This is Cain and Abel and Noah and whoever. You give thanks when you eat. It's a peace offering, and it's a whole burnt offering. Okay, well, there's two whole burnt offerings. One's is literally a whole burnt offering, this and that, but the other one is a whole burnt offering like you're going to eat. You make the sacrifice. The priest made the sacrifice for a whole burnt offering for some of their sins. They would take the fat out of it. They'd take the head and everything, and they would put it on the altar, the brass altar out front. They would put it on the brass altar out front, but they would put it in rows. They place it like it would look in real life if it were alive, the fat, the head, and then you take the shoulder is for you put the shoulder where it goes, and you put it on there as a whole burnt offering, but you take it off when it's delicious to eat. And the same with the legs, only it's funny, you wash the legs first, and then you put them on the altar for a whole burnt offering, which it specifically says the priests are taking this. And even Moses got mad. I saw it all day for the goat sin offering, but it was burnt up, because when they had that first offerings on there was peace offerings, meat offerings, burnt offerings, and the goat sin offering. And when the fire came out after the tabernacle was blown up and consumed everything, it did not consume the sin offering. There was bad Nadab and Abihu. There was bad offering. They had to, as soon as they built the tabernacle, Nadab and Abihu, that first day, Moses is supposed to be in there 7 days within the court. We see that he's supposed to eat in the holy place, and that sounds like within the temple, but it's actually, then he says, eat in the holy place in the courtyard. Finally, at one point, he makes it clear, eat in the courtyard or the holy place. It could be both. Too complicated. Exodus 20:21, he's up the fourth time. Oh, and this is still this is the blood covenant. You want to say, hey, what do you believe? You say, hey, read Exodus 20. We kind of start with 19 because with Exodus 15, 14. Oh my God, whatever. The whole Bible. You know what I mean by the whole Bible. But back when at the Bitter Waters of Marah, where he made a pledge with us saying that you could be priests and kings, holy nation, if you obey my covenant and this and that. And then in Exodus, Revelation 20, Revelation 1, he's made us priests and kings. This is his blood covenant, because from Exodus 20 to 24:8, he's going to tell, part of it's the 10 he shouted. Oh, I'm going to have a train too. The rest are judgments. These are judgments. This is like a Supreme Court ruling. This is like a Supreme Court ruling. The feasts are in there. You will do my feasts. This is a judgment. Okay. Now you want to learn how to do the feasts. It doesn't even say how to do it. We already know how to do Passover. You don't need a temple. You cut his throat. You pour out the blood. Oh, this is taking too long. Exodus 20:21. He's up there the fourth time. He gets judgments. Exodus 24. Right. Exodus 24:8. He writes down Exodus 20 to 24:8, the 10 Commandments and the judgments. Some of the judgments are don't do your sister, don't do bestiality, and some of the judgments are you're to go to Jerusalem 3 times a year. Moses gets all that information. And he comes down the fourth time in Exodus 24:3, writes it all down, sprinkles blood on the people, blood on what he had just written down, and blood on the altar. So if you want to say the Adamic covenant, the Noah covenant, the Abraham covenant, the David covenant are on equal terms with this, you're misunderstanding what 1 million people is versus 1 or 8. 1 million people were in covenant. 1 million people. So Moses writes this down, brings it down to the people, and remember they made a pledge. Hey, all that the Lord has said we will do. Well, now it's written in blood, which was never commanded by God. The blood of the blood covenant of Moses was never commanded by God. That's why it stinks. Pardon my French. The blood represents the death of the offender, whereas the blood of Christ's covenant in the Last Supper, renewing that blood covenant of the bulls, is in his blood, which represents life. You did a sacrifice of blood before, now you what? Do a sacrifice of Jesus? Right, it was already done. You get baptized into his death. You are no longer going to die the second death. You are in a renewed man. The renewed man, it's a baptism. It's a mikvah. There's 8 different mikvahs, baptisms. It's nothing new. Your baptism, oh, well, I got baptized in 88. You need to do it as every time. You need to do the baptism of repentance as often as you sin. Oh my God. Well, when you lay down, when you get up in the morning, and when you go to brunch, when you go to lunch, when you go to afternoon delight, when you eat dinner, when you lie down at night, at midnight, at 11:59, at 12:01, with your kids, without your kids, every single day, God is first. I don't know why you don't think this is important to be following these 10 commands, because you have a stumbling block of the Sabbath is so hard to do. Don't even try. Jesus is my Sabbath. We just learned in Exodus 19, his rest was, oh, and thank you from what's his name that gave us this beautiful information, that the manna, you got twice as much on Friday, and you were in his rest Saturday. If you're in his rest, brother, let me see you be eating some manna. We're looking for a future rest. If you don't know what this current rest is, abstaining from your Walmart job, okay? It's not turning on a light on the Sabbath because you're making the electrician work. Call a cop on the Sabbath. They have to work. Nurses have to work. Baby formula is poison if it's not heated up. You want to talk about what the rules are for Sabbath? Do not go to Judaism. How have they done? Just saying, how have they done? Do they even believe in the Messiah? Oh my goodness. No, if you want to do that, read the Bible. Here, I'll make you priests and kings. Revelation, we are made priests and kings. Even in Deuteronomy. And he's telling these people that haven't even gone across yet. He's in Deuteronomy, he's telling them, in the future, you're going to grow fat, you're going to kick, I'm going to scatter you to the world. But even from then, I'm going to draw a remnant. There will be a remnant of you. But even from then, if you are drawn to me and you call on my name with your whole heart, I will even, and he says, even in latter days, I will remember my covenant with you. What covenant? He continues, at Horeb, when I said, do this and this and this. That's weird looking in the camera instead of yourself in the mirror. That is kind of, do this and this and this. All right. He's up there and he comes down, he tells them, so he writes it all down and he goes up there the fifth time in Exodus 9. Exodus 24:9. He goes up that mount the fifth time to deliver the blood covenant, the exact same words, in my opinion, of the Last Supper. What are the words to your blood covenant? Oh, you're not in a blood covenant? You never read about the Last Supper? Tell me the words. Tell me the words to your blood covenant. I wish to read them to see if I want to join up. Not your dogma, not your decree, not your creed, not your disciplines, not your 24 spectrums, your 22 letters, your 613 this and that, 623. Oh, and love your neighbor as yourself, love God, love your neighbor, love yourself. That's really love God. That's really 3 commands. Yeah, what crap are you guys reading that you think that you know that the Sabbath is don't turn on a light? To me, the last I read, it was about something about manna, preparing your food, and then you can like cook it the next day. You can reheat it the next day, or you can just simply not have anything. It's not that hard, especially at wintertime. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness gracious. If I cook a meal and get it ready before something, it's different with me. I eat fast food all the time. Exodus 24:9, he goes up the fifth time and gives with 70 elders. Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Moses, 70 elders. It doesn't say Joshua, but I don't know. I think Joshua was like with them all the time. He delivers the blood covenant to God. That's the blood covenant we're in. Anything we read after this is law. Law. Do you see how that's a different word? Law. It's real short. Law. Okay, we are in covenant. 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 See how that's a really long word? And law is a really short. They're different. They're different words. Covenant. Law. He specifies this in like Deuteronomy 29 or something. This is the covenant I made at the end of 40 years. Deuteronomy means the added law. At the end of the 40 years, he's given them the added law. You got like along the way and everything over the sacrifice. You know how to do it. I'm just saying this was definitely after the golden calf. Down the fifth time. Exodus 24:13. He goes up some more. Because in Exodus 24:9, he goes up there with the 70 elders, spends 7 days with them. Well, he goes in a cloud for 7 days, and then he goes into the fire for 33 additional days. But don't forget, we're in covenant. He's in the fire, the smoke, 7 with the 70. They have a marriage feast. They go back down, and he continue and he calls them into the fire. And he gets all the he gets how to build the tabernacle, and there's no sacrificial system in it yet. He tells us how to build the tabernacle so he can dwell with us. He wants to walk amongst us, and he's telling us we got to build a building to do that. How to build the furniture for it, how to sanctify the priest, sacrifices for the priest that you use, that you do one time, that you sprinkle blood on their finger in their ear, the right thumb and the right toe. And then, but it keeps saying, and there is one sacrifice. The Day of Atonement is given at this point only. The Day of Atonement, when he's up there for the first 40 days and 40 nights, after he goes super duper up there in Exodus 24:13. He stays there 40 days. He gets how to build the tabernacle, how to sanctify the priest. And he says, once a year, you're going to come and do a Day of Atonement kind of thing for your souls. Okay? It didn't say for your sins. It said for your souls. This will be where the original sin of the, for lack of a better word, what the Catholic Church calls it origin, Adam's fall. This is the Day of Atonement for that, because they haven't sinned yet, like, so to speak, with the golden calf or Kadesh Barnea or any of those. They've only complained about the water. They complained about who's going to give us, can you give us food? And they gave them quail. They've already got one of the quail. They got it for a day when they said, God, can you give us some quail? But then later on, they're like, oh my God, this place stinks. The desert's hot. Who's going to feed us? And even Moses says, yeah, Lord, what are you going to do? Like empty the seas, kill all our flocks? What are you going to do? You know, he had doubts. And that's why they had to eat quail for 30 days till it came out their nostrils on a different occasion. So he goes up, and then he goes super duper up and gets how to build the tabernacle, how to sanctify the priests, and how to do the Day of Atonement once a year for your souls. And then God says, go get thee down. The people have already sinned. There's a calf. They've worshipped it, etc. But notice when he gives in Exodus 25, from Exodus, when he starts to give the commands on how to build the tabernacle, when he discusses the Ark of the Covenant, he calls it the testimony, the Ark of the Testimony, like 4 times throughout Exodus. He calls it, why is it testimony? Testimony is a dead covenant. I had a covenant with God not to murder. I went out and murdered. I am under the death penalty. Oh, why is that, Mike? Because I have a testimony of a covenant I broke. I was not supposed to sin. I broke it. This is my testimony. I know you're not going to believe me because it's the first thing they're putting in there. But believe me, the first thing they're putting in the ark is the testimony, because Moses is going to break it before he even gets to the bottom of the mount. He's going to break this, physically. So the testimony, the 2 tablets, the first 2 tablets are in the Ark of the Testimony that he took to Kadesh Barnea, and for 38 years went all the way around. Finally, when he goes up there and God puts his hand on his face and his face is shining, he gets the second set that Moses had to bring up there. And they suddenly start, for 6 months, they wipe out 2 giant kingdoms. One giant kingdom had 60 giant cities, walled high. They killed every last man, woman, and child and beast. Well, they kept the beasts. So he goes up there, super duper up there, the 5th time on how to build the tabernacle. It's called the testimony. And by Exodus, this is interesting, by Exodus 31:13, Sabbath keepers shall surely be put to death, because their soul shall be cut off from the people. Does it say to stone them? Does it say to stone these Sabbath breakers? Or does it say to cut them off from the people? Have you been told to cut off a woman's hands if she touches the other guy when you're both fighting? It doesn't mean with a knife. It means cut it off, smack it off, cut it off, cut it out. You hear a little 5-year-old in Walmart, hey, mother, smack, cut him off, cut that mouth off, make sure nothing more is coming out of his mouth. Don't cut it off with a saw. The woman touching the man in a 2 minute in a fight that grabs him, you don't stand by, we're going to get a saw. Bring in the saw. All right, honey, get away. I got to finish this fight. No, cut it off. Smack it the hell away as quick as you can. Cut it off. So these Sabbath breakers, the first we hear on any, besides the blood, meaning you're going to die if you break the Sabbath, or the first command, or the 10th. The 10th command being, by the way, Paul taught you this. Where's dirty varmint? Hey, dirty varmint. We got a couple different things. Exodus about don't covet thy neighbor's wife. Deuteronomy, do not desire thy neighbor's wife. Paul, I would not have known what covet was unless the law had said, the law, Deuteronomy, unless the law had said, thou shalt not desire. I'm sorry you don't like Paul, but he just kind of like smoked you. Okay, so yeah, so along about Exodus 31:13, he's telling them about the Sabbath breakers are surely put to death because their soul will be cut off from the people. Nothing in there about stoning. Kick that guy out of camp, he's going to come back crying, just like the scapegoat. It came back for decades. It came back. And finally, they made a rule, kill it. Oh, yeah, way to add to the scripture. ASPCA back then? Nope. And you'll feel his wrath. So in Exodus 32:15 is the 5th time Moses comes down the mountain. Exodus 32:15. He's got the first 2 tablets in his hand. Testimony, 5 times, testimony. Exodus 31:7, testimony. 32:15, testimony. 32:31, testimony. Three times, testimony. So he comes down and he sees the calf and he breaks them. And he says, peradventure, I'll go up and make an atonement. Exodus 32:31 is the 6th time he's going up the mountain. Peradventure, he can make an atonement for the golden calf sin. The covenant, the 10 plus the judgments he just wrote down, took to God, sealed in stone. No, it's broken. That's why it's symbolic to bring the stones of your heart. All throughout Deuteronomy, your stiff-necked people, circumcise the foreskin of your heart, in the future, even in latter days, I will remember my covenant. Circumcised, I will circumcise your heart. Jeremiah 31:31, the law will be written on your heart, not the covenant. The covenant stands. The covenant now, the covenant at Jesus' time in the year 20, the covenant was the covenant plus law. After Jesus, it's covenant. The law, where'd the law go? The law went away. He nailed it to the cross. Well, he nailed the Pharisee law to the cross. He also nailed that added law to the cross. That's on your heart. That's how you do it. And Jesus said, what's the greatest command? Is to follow those 2 from the law, because it's written on your heart. It was for them, those Pharisees who didn't believe it was him. That law should apply to them because it's from what happens to you when you grow up, you're wax fat, you kick, I disperse you, I will bring you back. What happens? Exactly. All right, testimony calf. So Exodus 32:31 is when he goes up there the 6th time, peradventure, can I make an atonement? And he says, whose sins I will blot them out. That's you, me, them, anybody in between, before, after. But it's funny he's saying it now on like the golden calf. Because who did it? Well, the Levites were called and they said no. And finally, when in Exodus 32:34, this 6th time he's up there, this is I think it's the final verse in Exodus 32. He says, go, lead the people. I will send an angel before you. Nevertheless, I will send an angel before you. But when I visit, okay? Now look at Exodus 33. He repeats himself. No, he doesn't. This is 38 years later. But listen, he repeats himself. Depart. A little bit different than lead. Depart. I will send an angel before you because I am not gonna go with you. They just built the tabernacle so he could go with them. But they went to Kadesh Barnea, all the way down here, go all the way around back. 38 years later, he finally goes up for the second set of the 10. And it's in between Exodus 33 and 32. Since he's repeating himself, it's letting us know there's something in between. And what's in between? Deuteronomy, quite frankly. But you'll have to go through Deuteronomy because it's flashbacks and flash forwards. He says, depart from me, I'm going to send an angel because I am not going to go with you. After 38 years, he says there's an angel going to go, and Moses kind of trips. Come on, Lord, go with us. Oh, excuse me. He says, depart, I'm not going to go with you. And Moses goes down. That's the 6th time down. Exodus 34:4 is both when he goes down the 6th time because God said, go lead the people. But also he came back up, he came back up. Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, the Ark. So the 7th time he also goes up there because he said, hey, I don't like, go, depart from me. And in Deuteronomy it says, go, depart from me, get ye over the brook Zered. And it was 38 years from Kadesh Barnea to the brook Zered. So when it says in Deuteronomy, go get ye up from here, from depart from me, you can insert that depart from me right here. This is what he's talking about, because for 2 chapters, he's going to talk about them. He's going to talk about afterwards, and then he's going to bring it back. Because remember, we just learned how to build the tabernacle, and then he said, lead the people. And now Moses is going to say, oh no, they just learned how to build the tabernacle. He says, go lead the people. And Moses says, oh, I don't like it that you're not with us. And this is when he says, come up and I'll give you the second 10. And he puts his hand on his face, puts him in the cleft of the rock, sends him back down with the 10, and his face is glowing. Right? That's in between. He learns how to build a tabernacle. He says, depart, but he doesn't. And goes back up there and gets his face glowing, comes back down with the second 10 and tells the people how to build the tabernacle. You follow me? How to build the tabernacle. His face shone, and then he tells them how to build the tabernacle. No. His face shining, they're not going to have a problem at Tabra. His face shining, they're not going to have, that means God's with them. That means God. You remember when the Amalekites were lifting up his arm, they were fighting the Amalekites and they lifted up his arms? That's before. There's 38 years in between Kadesh Barnea and the brook Zered. The brook Zered is not the Jordan. The brook Zered is not, it's near Ar. There's the brook Zered, then there's the brook, and then there's Ar, like on the, like, so he comes up the 7th time in Exodus 34:4. He gets the renewed covenant. Oh, and in Exodus, so check this out, what I was just saying about Deuteronomy. Insert Deuteronomy. Here he is up there at that part where I say it's 38 years later, and in Exodus 34:27, his 7th ascent up, Moses, God Almighty tells him, write these words after this tenor. And he starts to say the exact same thing that he just said in Exodus, the blood covenant. How the blood covenant language starts out in Exodus 20 from the 10 Commandments. Moses goes back up after Moses, what he writes down, it starts out like this. Write these words after this tenor. Don't make any molten gods. The Feast of Unleavened Bread you'll keep, the Sabbath you'll keep, and he's repeating Exodus 21, the covenant. See how beautiful sense it makes? We had covenant and law. Now we got covenant law in our hearts after the Last Supper. And then in Exodus, finally to finish this up, oh my God, people are talking. Oh, dude, man, I can't even get on here to chat. Look, man, I can't even tap like where I'm at. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll get on there in a sec. I'm gonna see what you said right now, brother. How about that? I can scroll down and talk. I can't respond.
So, God doesn't dwell in tabernacles built with human hands. Nope. Amos 25, 5:25. Did you bring me sacrifices and offerings 40 years in the wilderness? Oh, house of Israel, you have taken a long Saka, your kingdom, Kaiwan, your star god, the idols you made. Amen. Paul is an idiot. Oh, yo, I love you, period. No, Paul's a genius. Not too many people know that there's sensors involved with the golden calf. And that's the thing with Nadab and Abihu. You really read Nadab, in the first year, in the first month, they set up the tabernacle and they sanctified it. They had to make an atonement for the tabernacle. They had to make an atonement for the altar. They had to make an atonement, not a sprinkling of blood or something. Well, they probably did when oil, but it was to make an atonement for those items. Isn't that weird? Yes. God does not dwell in places made with man-made hands unless they're sanctified through the blood from God Almighty yelling that down on how to do it. So Exodus 34:29 finishes up. He comes down. That's the last time, and his face is shining. But yeah, it's funny. Chapter 35 starts out with how to build the tabernacle. He's had the first 10 commandments in the testimony, in the ark of the testimony. He's had them in there, and now he goes up for the second set, comes down and tells the people how to build the tabernacle. Break off your earrings, give me gold, silver, brass. Oh, and this is where he's going to tell you, if you kindle a fire 40 years later, you'll get stoned to death. I'm almost positive it says that, stoned to death. Anyway, we got 7 times up and down the mountain. Oh, I better go real quick to try to make it short. No, I don't have it with me. It's fine. Well, very good, brothers. Let me get on here off the thing. I'm gonna see if. Oh, I never even put the live stream. Oh my God, I didn't put open panel or nothing on there. What the hell? Live viewer comments. I'm gonna put this one up here about Paul is an idiot because you're funny. Whoops, where'd we go? I'll put them all up to begin with. There's syrup. I choose the topic. And then he explained the topic. Dirty varmint. Dirty varmint. God doesn't dwell in tabernacles built with human hands. Correct. Amos 5:25. Oops, where we go? There. Did you bring me sacrifices and offerings 40 years in the wilderness, O house of Israel? You have taken along Sakath, your Kengard, Kaiwan, your star god, the idols you made. Yes, they did. I'm going to leave that Paul is an idiot up there. I love that. No, I mean, I disagree. I'm just saying I can understand why you think so. It's like 900 different ways to read them if you don't understand that. We had a covenant first, and then we had it for 40 days. Then we had a covenant plus law. And now we're back to covenant. It's not that hard. It's Passover was commanded before Sinai. How do you do Passover? Deuteronomy 12:21 says you throw a party. Yeah, it sounds exactly like what you ought to be doing if there ain't a temple. But a lot of them brothers think that the temple is needed. What? For Shavuot? You don't need the temple for Shavuot. You don't need the. I gotta turn this camera around, number one. And there we go. Yay. And what are we doing with the camera? So we did the 7 times. And so I hope you understand that if you see that there's 7 times up and down the mountain, maybe you can make a decision for yourself that there was different times the law was given. There was a differentiation between the law. Where's my hand? Between the law and the covenant. The law being what, 613. Let's look at the beginning of Leviticus. Okay. Um, burnt offerings, peace offerings, which we already know about, sacrificial offerings for atonement. Do this, and the priest will make an atonement for you, and your sins shall be forgiven you. So, what is Paul talking about, or whoever, when they're saying the law will never you will never be justified by the law? You'll never be justified by the golden calf for the law. You have to do the law just to live. The law was added for transgression. You just have to do the law just to live. And that way you're like remaining in covenant. The law of, in Leviticus, the law of the burnt offerings, peace offerings, the law of the leper cleansing. And then Paul says the law has been done away with, and we don't know what he's talking about. Now, the book of Galatians is a little bit different. The works of the law, that's circumcision. And if your audience is 30-year-old males, it's probably not a good idea to tell them they got to get circumcised. That's why we got James' letter in Acts. James said, not only tells us his sentence is four things, the blood being one, but then he continues, for every Sabbath, Moses is spoken of in every city. But you'll see a couple verses later, they wrote down just the four things and said, if you do these things, you will do well. And then even in Acts 21, when Paul is back at James 14 years later, the Pharisees ask him, oh, yeah, we hear you've been teaching don't do baby circumcision and preaching against the law of Moses. And before he can answer, because that's a whole different thing, different than adult circumcision, different than, they continue. Do this for us to let us know. There's going to be a lot of people coming into town for this party, and they're going to ask, what's going on with Paul? What's going on with Paul? Is he still a Pharisee? Is he still a Pharisee? Because Pharisees take and pay for the sacrifices of people that are under a Nazirite vow. They tell him, hey, go take these four guys, shave their heads, sanctify them, get ready, whatever, do the whole hair burning thing. It's different than what we read. The Pharisee law, on if a Nazirite vow comes to you with not enough money to do all the sacrifices, there's a way to do it. And it's in the Talmud, Babylonian Talmud. Gosh, it couldn't be S. I don't know the tractate. I thought it was S for Sanhedrin, but that wouldn't make sense. Oh, anyway, it's pages 62 and 63. How to, what to do when a Nazirite comes to you with the, so the Pharisees come to him and said, but James is dead. James isn't asking this. James is dead. They're at James' house. If James is alive, he's keeping quiet. He's silent on the matter. He's probably been sitting there waiting with these guys in his home, and they're all being cordial and everything, but they're Pharisees waiting for Paul to show up. Paul shows up, says, hey man, the Gentiles are eating this stuff up. They're just loving it. And they're like, oh yeah, we heard about that. Yeah, it doesn't say James said that. It says they. Okay, that very well could have been James, but what they say ain't James, believe me. It says they said, hey, yeah, Paul, I don't know, man. We heard about you. You're teaching this and you're teaching that. Take these four Nazirite vow kids and sacrifice and then shave their heads. You're already shaven, brother. I don't know what's going on with that, man. Are you a Pharisee or not? Do this Pharisee thing. Take these four brothers, shave their heads. Your head's already shaven because you had a Pharisee vow, not a Nazirite vow, a Pharisee vow. A Nazirite vow, you shave your head at the temple. He shaved it way over there in Italy or wherever those two people were. I always thought they were boy names, Priscilla and Manila or something. It was a married couple. They had just Caesar had just kicked Jews out of Jerusalem, out of Rome. Oh crap, Dirty's got some more varmint. Oh, Dirty's got some more varmint. Yeah, he does. In the city, in the sanctuary, shall destroy the people of the prince that is to come. James was right. Oh, James. James sent him to the temple knowing he would be arrested. Paul thought it was a different high priest. Otherwise, he never would have gone to Jerusalem. No, he was warned, remember, from like a bunch of different, he says a bunch of different people, but only two people. The one guy that he put his girdle around him and said, "You're going to be bound like this." And Paul's like, "Oh, I'll be bound even to death." But yeah, Paul in Galatians, the works of the law is circumcision. Romans defines this is basic stuff. I don't know if you don't know, if you don't have any preconceived notions, you're going to read it and it's going to be like, oh, there was circumcised and uncircumcised people. And if you read the whole thing, it's like, oh, he's talking about circumcision the whole time. And then all of a sudden you start to notice, oh, the works of the law aren't going to do you any good because there is no difference between uncircumcised and circumcised. So there's a direct relation. The works of the law are no good because there's no difference between circumcised and uncircumcised. It's letting you know the works of the law is circumcision. And if you're talking to adults, they're speaking of adult male circumcision, which is exactly what Judaism professes. You, as an adult, have to get circumcised. You have to read certain books, pass certain tests, and then you're like a second-class citizen. You're not even a full-class citizen. But they had their rules and regulations for that, and one of them was adult male circumcision. No, Paul's not going to do it. But Paul answers. Paul answers. We have already said we are the Gentiles to be no greater burden than these four things. That's Paul answering. That's not James answering. That's not the elders answering. Remember, you thought James was asking that, so how can he be answering that? He's not continuing to say, do this Nazarite vow, because we've determined they shouldn't be doing anything but abstaining from blood, fornication, and things. That doesn't make any sense. If he told them these four things, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what are you doing, Paul? No, it doesn't make any sense. He says, Paul is answering them. We've determined we're not going to do any of those things. And then the very next line, but the text is silent on what he's saying. If you were to make a movie of this, James would be in the corner, quiet. He's tired of listening to these guys. These guys have been waiting for Paul. He knows the answer. It's like, dude, he gave them the answer. We've already determined, us apostles have already determined. What about Paul? Well, when Paul gets here, we're going to ask him. So it says, asked Paul and said, hey, we heard these things. We heard these things. Please do this. It's all in one sentence. It's not like, we heard this. What do you have to say, Paul? And we heard that. What do you have to say, Paul? No, we heard this and this and this. Go take these Nazarites and do their sacrifices. And then what happens? He waits there for a week without getting waited on. They cut their hair. You're supposed to burn it in the fire at the brass altar. Did they do that? I don't see any record of it, but they're also supposed to do a sacrifice. What are they doing sitting on the bench for a week? They're waiting to get service. And finally, some other Pharisee comes up and says, are you guys bringing them the riffraff from over there? And Paul's like, no, we're not bringing the riffraff from over there. And there's a whole thing. So he actually never did do it. It's like the bitter waters of Marah. It's like, here's the waters. Here, go do this. No, it's sour. All right, fine. Put a tree in it. Oh, gotcha. So there, with James's sentence in Acts 15, and the context, of course, being Pharisees coming in saying you have to be circumcised to be saved. It's about adult male circumcision, the whole thing. There's no, for Galatians, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, Romans, I would have you look at, because that's where Paul is speaking. The Galatians were pagans. Paul's talking to the Romans, a letter he's going to talk about what I talked about tonight. You're going to have your covenant plus law. And since they know the law, he's going to be talking about the covenant or the law or the covenant or the law. And unless he's saying, like the law of sin or the law of sin and death, he's talking about that the second set of 10 that everybody was in at the time of Jesus. He's talking about that second covenant, which had the added law. So he's going to use covenant and law interchangeably. But look for the chiastic structure, because he says, the chiastic, how do I do this? I got that mirror thing on. So look for the chiastic structure. He says law, commands, covenant, law. And as the chiastic structure builds to like Romans, I think 9, 10, or 11 or something, he finally says testament. For that first testament, for the testament, that's the original written on the sapphire heavenly floor, throne of God, or however you want to put it, the palace, 10 commandments. That's the first tablet. Paul calls them the testament. So when you guys are arguing, law this and covenant that, don't forget, in the KJV, Paul says testament, and that's the chiastic structure. That's where he starts out, covenant law, covenant law, covenant law, covenant law, testament, covenant law, covenant law, covenant law. Well, then he has like a very long ending. But since he's talking to the people that know the law, that do not believe in Messiah, still doing the sacrificial system, yes, that's going to be to the exact same thing they did in the wilderness as Sakuth, Kingman, and Kaiwan. If you're doing it like that, you're doing the exact same thing. In the city, in the sanctuary shall just, James was right. James sent him to the temple knowing he would be arrested. No, it doesn't say James spoke. James, it says they. It says they. It very well could have been James, but James wouldn't say that. James just gave him the sentence. Oh, Paul, we heard about this. You better go prove yourself. Paul thought it was a different high priest, otherwise he never would have gone to Jerusalem. I don't know what that means. Paul circumcised Timothy. Yes, adult male circumcision is a choice. Anything over 8 days old, at 9 days old, at 10 days old, at 10 years old, 100 years old. The more older you are, the more dangerous it is. So maybe just a little bit off the tie up top. And yes, Abraham became Abraham as an adult through circumcision. All his servants, his kids, and everything were all adults. Well, that didn't make any sense at all. You know what I mean? Ishmael was, Isaac was. Ishmael as an adult, I believe, and Isaac that same day. Moses, there's no record of Moses getting, thanks to you, we know this. There's no record of Moses getting circumcised, but his kids were older than 8 days old when they were circumcised. So when they're talking about the manner of Moses, they can either be talking about the 8-day-old law, covenant, command, or they could be talking about the manner of Moses that Moses's kids got circumcised, and they were older than 8 days. So yeah, when your audience is adults and you're telling them you got to get circumcised to be saved, run away. It's part of the land covenant. It's not part of your salvation, so to speak. It's a sign, but the sign is on your 8-day-old male, not you at 90. That's part of the land covenant. Getting circumcised at 8 days is more like as you grow older, you're going to understand. You're going to question what that was that your mother and father believed. That's going to get you started on your Torah, we hope. I mean, if the parents are gone or something. But no, it's always been a choice. It's part of the land covenant. But no, the Levites got no land, and they were number one. The Moses and Aaron didn't see it because they had sinned, but even Gad, Manasseh, half-tribe Manasseh, and Reuben got land on this side, Jordan. It's a land good for cattle.
Okay, so how important is this land covenant? He has many mansions for us. Yeah, it would be great to have some land, and but just out of sheer circumcision, an 8-day-old male is not going to get in a land covenant just by existing. They actually have to do something, and that is get in covenant with God Almighty through Jesus. But back in the day, prior, it would have been with the Father. Sorry to take so long on those. Paul circumcised Timothy, yeah. Paul was only supposed to go to the temple and pay for them to get their heads shaved. Yeah, yeah, that's what the Pharisees do. The Pharisees don't shave their heads. The Pharisees bring them to the temple and pay for them to get their, yeah, it's in page 62 and 63 of the Talmud somewhere. It'd have to be the S tractate. It would have to be the Babylonian S tractate, pages 62, 63. Paul wasn't partaking, right, in the, right, he was paying for the, right, of the men who were, yeah, amen, brother, smart, smart. That's why I love you, man. You get the facts, man. You got the facts. You got the facts, man. Just the facts, man. That's our 7 times up and down the mountain. Man, I never even put StreamYard in there to invite. What the hell? This was supposed to be an open panel. I'm going to put that on there and put music in. How do I do that? Guests, invite guests, copy, copied, X out, more, post comment, paste. Yeah, especially you, dirty varmint, man. You're so, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Just like Satan said, all are welcome. All are welcome. No, there's rules to get in. Come on in, all are welcome. I'm going to put that in chat. All right, we're going to go do what? Let's see. Oh, do I highlight the? I want to. I'll keep yours highlighted. I don't care. I think I should put it on a banner though. But either way, yeah, we're taking a break, brother. We're going to listen to some royalty-free music. Oh, and dirty, brother, I'll tell you what, man, sometime you want to talk about it, my StreamYard's gonna run out here after a couple hours. But sometime, brother, we gotta get together and talk about this. You don't have it, this has no Paul in it. This is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I put all the texts side by side and aligned them, and they all come out with the Last Supper being on Aviv 10. Aviv 10 going into the 11th. 3 different donkey rides. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, that's their donkey ride, and then John. Oh, you don't like John? Well, whatever. Yeah, let me throw some royalty-free music on here, and I'm gonna take a little break. Let's see. What was Stephen talking about when he said they carried the tabernacle and the Moloch in the wilderness for 40 years? Yeah, they complained right up to the very end. That's why I'm saying from Kadesh Barnea. Now, Kadesh Barnea, we know, is a year and a half after, because they set up the tabernacle the first day of the first month, the second day of the first day of the second month. He numbers the people, and then they set forward by that standard, and they go 3 days journey into Paran. And that's when we know that from Paran they do the Kadesh Barnea thing. And then, of course, it says from Kadesh Barnea to the brook Zered was 38 years. So, yeah, they complained for 39 and a half years. And finally, Moses got his face shining. Aaron died, and they killed 60 giant cities, all the way up to Syria, Damascus, Lebanon, all the way up to there, and then back down to right across from Jerusalem on the east side of Jordan, east of Jericho in the land of Moab. He's delivering that Deuteronomy. That's why we see at the beginning of Deuteronomy, it sounds like he's in 3 different places. Where is he at the beginning of Deuteronomy? We've got that whole, here 40 years later. Well, it doesn't start out like that. But anyway, you know what I mean with I turned my cam off. But yeah, anyway, he's at the time of the Kadesh Barnea was at the time of the grapes, so that's in the fall. So this is a year and a half after they come out of Egypt, and then it's written from Kadesh Barnea to Brook Zered, it was 38 years. So that's 39 and a half years before he gave them the law. These guys complaining the whole time and not getting that second set of tablets that Moses chiseled out into the Ark of the Covenant. Yes, they would be doing essentially the Moloch thing. No fear of God. The testimony in the covenant was representative of a broken covenant. It was now a testimony, like a last will and testament. You've broken it, or you've died, whatever your last will and testament, you died. Now it's active. That's what Paul's talking about. It doesn't get enacted until you die, but there's rules along the way. So they didn't last 40 days. Don't forget there's a testament in there, a testament, a testimony of their death penalty. That's why everything you read about the law says so that they could live. It wasn't so they could live forever and ever and ever. And it wasn't so that they could live like good as opposed to bad living. It was so they could live like they were supposed to die. We're going to let you live. They were supposed to die at the golden calf. They were supposed to die, and he went down for 40 more days. They were supposed to die at Kadesh Barnea, and he fell down for 40 days again. So there's 3 different times of him falling down, 40 days and 40 nights. But because as you're reading Deuteronomy, you're like, oh, okay, they're about ready to cross over the river Jordan. And then the next line is, I don't know. It just sounds like it's out of order. I can't give a good example, but it sounds like it's out of order. All of a sudden, there's another. Oh, and then I fell down at the first. And it's like, what? They were just getting ready to go over the Brook Zered, or they're just getting ready to go here or there. I can't give a good example, but it's every time you turn around, he's getting ready to fall down as at the first. And if you think it's one event, you're way mistaken. We know it's at least 2. I'm just saying it was 39 and a half years later before they heard anything. But yeah, 40 years counting the day of the first day of Matzah Fest, the 15th. That's when they came out. They ate the lamb that day and ran with no leavened bread. Yeah, that's very truthful. I don't know where you got that, for Amos or something, but Surat, blessings, brother. Thank you for chilling. So good to have somebody with an ear instead of just talking into a whatever thing. But yeah, we're gonna put you on microphone. I'm gonna take a quick break. Come on in, anybody. Talk about whatever you want, any topic. I should probably put that up there too on a banner. Yeah, we'll get rid of. Yeah, we'll put that on there. Oh, here we go. We'll put this one on there. I already did that one. I don't know if you can tap on that or not, but at least it says, come speak your mind and Happy New Year. All right, where do you get the comments? Oh my God, comments. Okay. Yeah, man, we're going to see y'all, sir. Oh, I better. This is so stupid. You got to push 3 buttons. You got to push more. And then out of the more choices, you have to push post a comment. And then finally, post a comment comes up and you have to tap on post a comment. Now I can comment. Be right back. Come on in, any topic or what, be right back. Open panel. I'll just put that on. Except dirty. No, that brother was scared me to death. I wouldn't know what to do if he got on my panel. I'd probably hug him and shoot him kick him in the shin at the same time.
All right, almost. Guy next door got towed. All right. Yeah, I'd like to rattle this off in less than a minute to make a short, to be able to edit a short out of this. I'd probably die on my time here with StreamYard. Yeah, Exodus. Well, let's just practice. Exodus 19:3, he's up the first time. Exodus 19:7, he comes down. 19:8, he's up the second time. Exodus 19:14, he's down the second time. Exodus 19:20, he's up the third time. Exodus 19:25, he's down the third time. Exodus 20:21, he's up the fourth time. Yeah, we got that mixed up. Exodus 24:3, he's down the fourth time. Exodus 24:9, he's up the fifth time. Exodus 24:13, he goes up more. Because he's visiting with them like and then he goes up more. 24:13. Oh, and then he learns how to build the tabernacle. Testimony. 31 sounds like a break. He comes back down. Exodus 32:15, he comes down. Exodus 32:31, he goes up the sixth time. This is the calf. Exodus 34:4, he goes down the sixth time, and also Exodus 34:4, he starts to go, he does go up there the seventh time. And then finally, Exodus 34:12, he goes down the seventh time. All right, let's try it again. Exodus 19:3 is up the first time. Exodus 19:7, he's down the first time. Exodus 19:8, he's up the second time. Exodus 19:14, he's down the second time. Exodus 19:20, he's up the third time. Exodus 19:25, he's down the third time. Exodus 20:21, he's up the fourth time. Exodus 24:3, he's down the fourth time. Exodus 24:9, he's up the fifth time. Exodus 24:13, he goes even further up into the fire, learns how to build the tabernacle. And Exodus 32:15, he comes down for the fifth time. Exodus 32:31, he's up the sixth time. And then Exodus 34:4, he's down the sixth time, but he's also back up the sixth time. And finally, in Exodus 34:29, he is down the seventh time, and his face is shining. It's 39 and a half years later. They're and they're crossing over the brooks there to kill two kingdoms of kings. Hope that was less than a minute. I should try that again. I didn't time myself. All right, let's see if we can do it in less than a minute, eh? But there's this phone ain't gonna do no timer thing. This is my free Obama phone ain't got doesn't have an alarm clock on it. Oh, you can call and make it a job interview, but you can't set an alarm to get up to go to one. Oh, clock. Okay, that's cool. Stopwatch works. Moses was up and down that mountain 7 times, 8 counting the burning bush. The first time was Exodus 19:3. Exodus 19:7, 4 verses later, he comes down the mountain. 1 verse later, he's up the mountain for a second time. And in Exodus 19:14, he comes down the mountain for the second time. Exodus 19, he's up the mountain for the third time. Exodus 19:25, he's down the mountain for the third time. Exodus 20:21, he's up the mountain for the fourth time. And Exodus 24:3, he's down the mountain for the fourth time. Exodus 24:9, he's up the mountain for the fifth time. Exodus 24:13, he's up higher in the mountain. He's getting into the fire. And then he learns they're going to build the tabernacle. Then Exodus 32:15, he comes down the mountain for the fifth time. Exodus 32:31, he goes up. Peradventure, he can make an atonement for the golden calf sin. Exodus 34:4, he comes down the mountain for the sixth time. Also in Exodus 34:4 is he goes up the mountain for the seventh time. And in Exodus 34:29, he comes down the mountain for the seventh time. I didn't even start the stopwatch. What an idiot. Oh my God. I hope that was less than a minute. We'll try it again because I can edit this out for short and add music and text. Stopwatch. Actually, let's try just timer. Oh no, that looks worse. Stopwatch. Hit that. Oh, and it starts to go. All right. We'll see if we can even have time to dilly-dally around. Holy smoke, Paul, what the heck? Oh, 5.5, yeah, that. 6. No, that's down. Pretty great. Yeah, the tabernacle will dwell among us. Urim and Thummim, the judgments. testimonies. 6667. All right, let's try this again. See if we can do this. That was a minute 20. Let's see if we can do this in less than. The heck am I got going on now? What's this? Right, how to build it. Oh my God. Yeah, that might help. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. All right, so that took, let's try to stop that again. We're trying to get this in less than a minute so I can make it a short and add text. Stopwatch, I don't know, stop. Stopwatch. Shorts actually go vertical. Yeah, I should really be reading this. Let's try this. All right, where's my timer? Go. Moses was up and down that mountain 7 times, 8 if you count the non-burning bush. Exodus 19:3, he goes up for the first time. Exodus 19:7, he comes down for the first time. Exodus 19:8, he goes up for the second time. Exodus 19:14, he comes down for the second time. Exodus 19:20, he goes up for the third time. Exodus 19:25, he goes down for the third time. Exodus 20:21, he goes up the fourth time. Exodus 24:3, he comes down the fourth time. Exodus 24:9, he goes up the fifth time. And Exodus 24:13, he goes up higher, like into the fire, and learns how to build the tabernacle. And then Exodus 32:15, he comes down the mountain for the 5th time. 32:31, he goes up the mountain for the 6th time. And in Exodus 34:4, he comes down the mountain for the 6th time. But it's also the Exodus 34:4, he goes up the mountain for the 7th time. And in Exodus 34:29, he comes down the mountain for the 7th time. A minute 12. Gotta cut that down. Oh, Musa in the Holy Quran. Yeah, then you guys ought to know that the law came 38 and a half years, 39 and a half years after the covenant. Yeah, praise the Lord. Moshe misspoke. Moshe never told the people to set bounds around the mountain. Moshe instead said, "Do not come against your wives." And the people of Moshe could not last 40 days because of those mistranslated, misinterpreted words of God. Because God calls them right back up and says, hey, you didn't tell him to set bounds. And he says, oh, I set him bounds. He says, no, get thee down. Get thee down. And charge the people, telling them, do not come against the mountain. And then he starts to yell down the 10 Commandments. That's Exodus 20. Yeah, we are going to try this again. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, let's try this. Oh, let's get our timer going. Ready, set. Oh man, I'm missing my axe. All right, we'll try it from there. And go. Moses was up and down that mountain 7 times, 8 if you count the burning bush. Exodus 19:3, he's up the first time. 19:7, down the first time. 19:8, up the second time. 19:14, down the second time. 19:20, up the third time. 19:25, down the third time. Exodus 20:21, up the fourth time. Oh, my paperwork's out of order. Oh, great. Whatever. Oh, my gosh. You all just talk amongst yourselves until I get this sorted out again. Up, down, up. Oh, down, up. Yeah, there we go. Down, up 6. Down, up 7. Down, up 7. All right, let's try this again. That can go right there, and I think you can hear me. Actually, let me try. I'll try like that. How's that? Oh, that holds it nice and steady. Oh, I like that. Okay. So, all right. Get the microphone nice and close as I can, I think. And get my timer ready. We're trying to get it down to under a minute so I can edit it out as a short and add text. Ready, set, go. Moses was up and down that mountain 7 times, 8 if you count the non-burning bush. Exodus 19:3, up the first time. Exodus 19:7, down the first time. 19:8, up the second time. 19:14, down the second time. 19:20, up the third time. 19:25, down the third time. Exodus 20:21, up the fourth time. Exodus 24:3, down the fourth time. 24:9, up. 24:13, really up. And 34:15, down. 32:31 up, and 34:4 he's down the 6th time, and Exodus 34:4 also he's going back up the 7th time. And finally Exodus 34:29 he comes down the 7th time. 47 seconds. Oh boy, that feels good. Got something accomplished tonight. How y'all doing? It's got a little bit of snow out here. Let me see if I can show you the outside. You hear that rubber band? Trying to hook my rubber band on there. We're coming, we're getting some music. We're getting there, we're getting there. Trying to find some music.
All right. Oh my God, it took me 20 minutes to shut it off now. Very nice, very nice. Well, thank you all for joining me tonight. I think it's, what are we at here? Let's try it this way. So anyway, in Shu's name, in Michael's name, hope you got something out of the teachings. 7 times up and down that mountain. Yeah, we're barefoot now. 7 times up and down that mountain.